the weather. It gives us life, and it takes it away.
The tornado has touched down.
You can't do anything.
It is a thing of staggering beauty and a destructive force, killing thousands every year.
The windows all blew out.
The whole thing's gone.
Holy crap.
It was the end.
It is gone. The building is gone.
And our warmer atmosphere is extra energy for our weather to unleash upon us.
Oh my God!
We meet the people who came face to face with Mother Nature and filmed it.
I've been fighting it for an hour.
I'm gonna sick to my stomach.
Holy! I just lost my house.
We hear firsthand how these people survived.
Oh my God! Get in the house!
He's alive. He's alive.
It's pretty much the end of humanity.
I was really convinced I would die.
Using their incredible self-shot footage, we stare straight into the eye of the storm. And witness up close the sheer force of nature.
Boom! Oh my God, look at that! Oh! Jesus Christ! Everybody take cover, now!
Coming up in this episode, wildfires out of control in Canada. People flee for their lives.
Holy! I just lost my house.
A tornado hits the homes of two sisters, and one gets hit.
Oh my God! Get in the house!
180-mile-per-hour winds batter one of the biggest cruise liners in the world. 4,000 passengers hide in their rooms.
Holy crap.
And a storm drives a herd of pregnant cows into the sea. But do they all survive? A normal day's traffic in Fort McMurray, Alberta, in the heart of Canada. But in early May 2016, east of town, a wildfire was getting out of control.
Holy, this is ground zero. Look at all the people leaving Fort McMurray.
Record temperatures of 32 Celsius and winds of up to 45 miles per hour were the perfect conditions for fire to be whipped up.
I've been here now 12 years. I've never seen something this bad.
It became a multi-headed beast running into town. The entire population of almost 90,000 people were ordered to evacuate. Most got out on time, but Jared Sabovich was working nights and got the message a bit late.
Went out front and just saw that the whole neighborhood was on fire. You know, like everyone's grass was on fire and everything was still raining in. And I just remember thinking it was such a crazy sight. And I just pulled out my video and I just started recording.
Hasty exit. That might have been the last time. Might have been the last time I ever saw my house right there. Holy! Time to make a hasty exit, eh?
On the horizon, a fireball was obliterating everything in its path.
That's the last time I ever saw my house. I know it. Insurance, you better do me good. I just lost my house. No big deal. No big deal. It's all good. That sucker's burning down for sure. You want those reaction vids? Here's one. I'm not crushed, I ain't crying, it's all good. People have gone through worse. Things were good before this and things will be good after this. Good luck, everyone.
Also leaving it late was 25-year-old Michelle Chamberlain, whose dashboard camera captured his escape.
Flames started getting a lot more intense and a lot more closer. You can start smelling a lot of smoke.
Yeah, I could feel the heat in the car. It's not even funny. People would start to panic.
It just felt unreal. It felt like it wasn't happening. I started driving by those flames. When you see them really engulf and embers started falling down, that's when I really thought this was a big fire. This was serious. This was gonna get out of control.
Cars and wild animals jockeyed for position on the roads out of town.
Oh my God.
The road became a tunnel of fire. Each driver had less than an inch of metal to protect them from fast-moving flames, lethal temperatures, and poisonous smoke.
Your eyes started getting watery. You can really start feeling the flames.
I don't know where to go.
It really looked like something you always see in the news. It was a scary sight, a little too close for comfort.
Oh my God.
The fuel-filled cars could go up at any time. But in the end, Michelle got out safely. On the other side of town, the Braun family scooped up their young children and jumped in the car. 16-year-old Jacob was closest to the flames.
That's really hot.
If you've never been through wildfire, it's almost apocalyptic. Like, you think that everything's going to be destroyed and like the world is ending because there's so much fire and chaos that it's really scary.
Jacob's family were amongst thousands crammed bumper to bumper and desperate to get out in time.
I can feel the heat through the window.
Driving by the fire on the side of the road, the flames are almost 30 feet high, and the truck that we were in was getting hit by ashes.
Whoa.
Holy crap.
The window was hot.
The flames were really high and really close. You could feel the heat coming through the windows.
We're gonna make it.
Yep, heading south.
Heading south.
But the houses left behind were decimated. Homeowners left the lights on as they abandoned pet fish, family portraits, and prized possessions to the hunger of the fire. Half-drunk bottles of beer and heirlooms were consumed by flames as over 2,000 buildings were flattened by a force of nature.
Oh my God, look at that fire.
Almost 50 helicopters carrying huge buckets of water tried to quench the forest of flames. But in the built-up areas, firefighters like Rob Bonner were running out of water.
The first time we were there in the fire itself, it was a little surreal because everything was burning and then there was fire on both sides and embers floating around and nobody else was around. It was kind of apocalyptic. And without enough water for all the fire, you'd have to really watch a house burn without touching it. We're obviously not used to that. That was the surreal part for me, was just because it was so big that you'd have to just say, well, that house is going to go, and there's nothing you can do about it.
By night 3, some houses had to be sacrificed to save others.
We used backhoes and plows and knocked down two rows of garages and a row of houses, because those houses were going to burn anyway. I feel bad for all the people that had to do that. They kind of lost everything.
Next morning, on day 4, it was clear that evacuation was the right call.
Crazy. The whole neighborhood just lost last night. Still feel the heat off these houses and stuff. Just nothing but basements.
Years of homemaking and possessions were gone. And there were still pockets of stubborn resistance.
Okay, we're just having difficulties finding out who we're supposed to lead back to.
That'll be our next step.
More than 1,000 people fought this fire, and yet it continued in rural areas for another 2 months, torching over 1.5 million acres. and those who lost everything had to rebuild their lives.
They thought they had it under control, and then, you know, they lose it, and it did take a lot more than they expected, I guess.
Having gone through that, I feel more independent now, more productive. It's a large experience, so taking something from it would be good.
Every single time I took a picture, it broke my heart. Hey, guitars, you know, you're gone. Hey, record player, you're gone. Hey, drum set, see you later, you know. Everything you worked for, goodbye.
The Alberta wildfire annihilated about 15% of the town, making this Canada's costliest disaster ever. But astonishingly, there was not a single death directly caused by the fire itself. Wildfires are much more common than you'd imagine. The Alberta Fire Department in Canada puts out over 1,000 per year. But a change in wind direction catches this firefighter out. Fires can travel at terrifying speeds of 12 miles per hour, which is a bit faster than a fully kitted up fireman. Luckily, there is a lake just where he needs it. Driving is the quickest way out of a forest fire, but even then you are not always safe. These four men are fleeing an inferno in central Russia. It's torched 2,300 square miles of forest, destroyed 1,000 homes, and killed over 20 people. Burning trees have fallen across the road, but that doesn't deter this driver. But even for the bravest driver, it soon becomes impassable. One of them thinks it would be nice to look out the window. In this smoke, not a good idea. They beat a hasty retreat, the tightest three-point turn ever. The danger is whether they are now trapped in the forest. But thankfully, they are able to follow another vehicle out. To catch small fires early, firefighters are actually parachuted into remote forest areas. In 2015, a scorching summer set southern Australia alight. These volunteer firefighters are an early response team battling a blaze in Adelaide Hills. They reach a small farm full of pockets of fire. The problem with small mobile units is that they quickly run out of water, like this one.
That's one way to do it.
So, finding water supplies on the ground is one of the biggest challenges to fighting wildfires. This man is the last person to flee his home in Anderson Springs, California, during the wildfire of 2015. 500 people lost their homes. But despite all this destruction, wildfires are actually nature's way of rejuvenating forests. They consume thickets and dead wood, allowing bigger trees to grow through. Not that that is much comfort to the people of Anderson Springs. Remote motorways are particularly at risk. Drivers on the Cajon Highway in California are stopped by a blazing brush fire. And just when you don't need a traffic jam, it burns straight towards everyone. Unfortunately for them, wildfires actually travel quicker uphill. Although most people seem more concerned with getting a nice picture, this blaze destroys 20 vehicles and hundreds of people have to flee on foot. Wildfires are not all bad. As well as being nature's way of birthing a new generation of plants and trees, they can also be quite beautiful. This firenado is a combination of fire and mini tornado, with some fire extinguishing foam thrown in. It's an alluring spectacle, but no less dangerous. The twister jumps across the track and ignites a new blaze. Wildfire is Mother Nature at her most beautiful. But don't be seduced. She's just as deadly. One sunny morning in Rice, Navarro County, Texas, Rosanna Vasquez Cobos woke up to find a tornado outside her front door.
The tornado was far away. When it was across the street with the sun behind it, it looked beautiful. I just started filming it.
But when the tornado gathered pace, it changed from beauty to beast and turned towards her house.
Get in the house! Get in.
I'm watching this.
Anthony, I mean it.
Okay. I'm never gonna see this again.
This is from our front porch. Oh my God, look at over there, all that stuff. It's coming right at the house.
A tornado warning went out online and on the radio.
When I received the notification that day from the National Weather Service that severe weather was quickly developing across the northern portion of the county, I immediately went into response mode.
Emergency coordinator Eric Myers hit the road to monitor its path.
Definitely got quite a bit of debris back to my west.
Rosanna had a safe room for tornadoes, but her children were not in it.
Anthony, hurry up! Oh my God, get in here before y'all get hit with something.
Oh shit,
come on, Anthony, Angel. Where's Angel? Where's your sister?
Out on the road, seasoned tornado expert Eric knew he was vulnerable.
Yeah, we have to stop here. Looks like it's going to come across our path just shortly in front of me. Don't want to get too far in front of this in case it makes a right-hand turn.
The twister was still on track for Rosanna's house.
Oh gosh! Hurry up! Get in! Just on the corner of my house, and you can see the tornado. It was on, on our property. As soon as we closed the door and they realized how close, what a close call it was, their eyes were just huge, like, oh crap, this is real.
Her family were finally in the safe room, but Eric's luck had just run out.
We are in a tornado! We are in the 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 tornado!
The only thing you can see and the only thing you can feel is the intense bombardment of debris moving.
It shredded the roof of Rice Elementary School, sending chunks of metal towards the open window of Eric's car.
And the sound is unlike anything you've ever heard. The closest thing I can relate it to is a jet engine. And it was just surreal to hear the tornado that close, to feel the brunt force winds coming through, the debris pelting the vehicle. You could hear all of the pops and the dents and the dings happening, and the roar of the tornado was just phenomenal.
This just went right over us. Just went right over us.
You're in shock. You're in disbelief about what you just went through. I'm just glad to be alive. It's one of those feelings that you hope you only have once in your lifetime.
The tail of the tornado was above Rosanna's house when she emerged, alive but mesmerized.
When I turned and I saw that, I thought it looked beautiful. It looked really amazing.
Rosanna may have survived, but next door, her sister's house took a direct hit.
And then you see that, and then you feel horrible because here you thought this beautiful thing destroyed your sister's house. and could have taken their lives.
We got hit, but not as bad as Naomi, and she's the one that had the worst. Go see they're okay. Brian, go see if Naomi's okay.
Oh my God.
Just an awful, awful fear that they weren't okay. Yeah, she's more than my little sister. I just don't know I really don't know what I would have done if I would have lost her. And not that I don't love her family, but she's everything to me.
The tornado came from the west, traveling east. Aerial photos chart the path of devastation through Rice. First, it cut a train in half, throwing the containers 160 feet from the track. Next, it hit the school, ripping off the roof and folding the brick walls. Mercifully, it was a Sunday, so the children weren't there. Rosanna's home was spared by a few feet. But next door, her sister Naomi was huddled in a safe room with her husband and 3 young children. It was a direct hit, but unbelievably, no one was injured.
It was an immediate relief. We're just, thanking God, like, oh my gosh, they're good, they're fine.
It was sad and it was hard. We lost a lot of possessions, but my kids were okay.
Naomi's house has since been rebuilt, and she still lives next to her sister, bonded further by surviving some of the world's deadliest weather. Deadly weather and vehicles frequently clash head-on. This driver may have been cut up, but the car in front takes the brunt of the wind. And vanishes. The first concern is the pedestrian wiped out by the side of the road. The white car is nowhere to be seen. But a re-examination of the footage reveals the car's final destination. Lifted up by the tornado and dumped behind the tree. It'll take more than the dashboard tissues to clear up this mess. Deadly weather and the road don't mix. A caravan holiday in Wyoming is not much fun when the wind picks up. There's truckers keeping a close eye on an empty caravan buffeted by strong wind. But sometimes you should be concentrating on what you're doing. Even when you're watching traffic in a storm, things can get electric.
Yeah, some storms going on here. Close to this. Dang! Ah! Hit that freaking tree.
And in bad weather, you never know what's coming from above. Driving in Kuwait is not for the faint-hearted at the best of times, and sandstorms are a natural hazard. You don't want to hang around.
About to be engulfed.
When there's only one way to go, sometimes you have to take what nature throws at you.
It's getting dark. It is officially dark.
The sun is blocked out by a sandstorm. Oh my God, you can't see anything. Jesus. No way. I can't believe this. It's completely pitch black dark. Wow. Wow.
In India, keeping the traffic flowing is always a struggle. In the north of the country, cars are held up on this road for good reason. Deadly extremes of temperature over the years had loosened rocks overhanging a well-used highway. From another angle, a road sign is the ultimate in understatement. The roads next to rivers in Venezuela are no less vulnerable. 2 days of rainfall causes a flash flood, taking empty cars with it. But some of them aren't empty. Don't forget the wife. So next time you hit a rainstorm in the car, just remember, it could be a lot worse. Still to come. A hurricane threatens the lives of 4,000 passengers on a holiday of a lifetime as their ship is rocked by 26-foot waves.
Holy crap.
And pregnant ladies try to swim for it as a storm approaches. This is the Anthem of the Seas, a huge brand new cruise liner. Peter and Angela Alupi were among the excited passengers on the £940 million ship heading down the American East Coast to the Bahamas.
This ship is what really attracted us. It's the second largest ship on the ocean. It had Broadway musicals and incredible entertainment.
Absolutely breathtaking. One of the most beautiful ships I've ever seen.
As we had all boarded the ship, the captain came on. He said there was a storm forming in the Carolinas.
Less than 10 months since her maiden voyage, for the first time, the Anthem of the Seas was about to be truly tested against Mother Nature. She sailed straight into hurricane winds off the southeast coast of America.
People at this point were nervous, a little tense.
Jared Johnson was in the gym surrounded by weights when conditions cut up rough.
That's when I heard a big crash and a woman scream, and I turned around, and what had happened was a trash can had actually slid across the entire gym floor and knocked this woman over. And that's when I thought, okay, this is getting bad.
Holy crap.
Everyone was kind of crowded around the windows looking out at the waves because they were so big. I've personally never seen waves that big, and I don't doubt that these people haven't either.
Look, here it comes. Oh my God.
180-mile-an-hour winds whipped up the sea and violently tilted the ship. Giant waves battered the 160-foot-high liner.
Oh my God, look at that wave. That was higher than our ship.
I'm in a storm. It's 123 knots the wind. Everything's moving around. I've got broken glass everywhere.
Horrible. Don't fancy grounded.
Michael Ricketts and Martin Little's holiday video was turning into a disaster film.
It was something you'd actually seen in an American movie.
Well, we can't get out of it then, can we? Jesus Christ.
We didn't expect to actually hit a hurricane, and we couldn't believe what was actually happening on the ship. It was just horrendous, weren't it? The actual TV screen, actually in the cabin, we could actually see the outside, and everything was just flying around and smashing and falling over. And
Parts of the ship were being claimed by the sea.
Oh, something's out there. What is that? Oh, it's pieces from the ship. That's parts of the ship.
The winds picked up, the rain got heavier, and I was like, oh, this is kind of crazy.
Holy crap. I think we should move.
You look out on the horizon, you couldn't really see it, but you would see the edge of the boat, and it would tilt up past the horizon, then it would dip down several feet below that, and that threw you off quite a bit.
As 170,000 tons of steel bobbed around like a rubber duck in the bath, Captain Klaus Andre Andersen ordered all the passengers to their rooms.
The waves were 70 feet tall. They were hitting up on the 11th deck. The staff were in the corridors, scrambling, hugging and crying in some cases.
I saw everyone's reactions, and they were, they were definitely nervous. A lot were scared. I noticed a couple people crying, just shocked. I saw this pregnant woman, and she was being guided with either her sister or mother, and she was crying. She was not happy. People were kind of like holding on to things and walking slowly, or walking like they almost were drunk. They couldn't, walk a straight line.
If the ship had rolled, it could have killed thousands, but the captain tried to keep everyone calm.
We're looking now at around 8 meters, which is around 25, 26 foot seas. So they are to be considered severe seas that we have on to deal with.
It is absolutely unbelievable. The room's been a wreck, everything's been slung around and dropped everywhere, and glass in the bathroom.
And you can't see anything. You can't see any land, you can't see any horizon. It's just like a wall, isn't it? A wall in front of you. You can't see anything apart from the sea, and that is it.
Oh my God. This is bad. We actually said goodbye to each other. It's very emotional, wasn't it? Because not knowing we're going to see each other again, was the biggest fear, wasn't it? I never dreamt that I would die drowning. And this is one way that I never wanted to die.
In the early hours of the morning, the storm finally passed. Captain Klaus Andre Andersen put on a brave face.
Yesterday turned out to be probably one of my worst days at sea, if not the far worst day at sea. I know many of you was afraid yesterday. It could be much, much worse.
There were just a few minor injuries to passengers, but with another storm brewing and considerable damage on board, the decision was made to return to port.
There were 6,000 souls on board, and all that needs to be taken into consideration when deciding to drive a ship into a storm like that.
Owners Royal Caribbean refunded all passengers, but how many will be rushing to go on a cruise again remains to be seen.
To come home was very disappointing, but at least We're here to tell the story.
This whole experience has changed my outlook on weather and Mother Nature as a whole, and how unpredictable the weather can be.
Because of the sheer power of it and the size of that ship. And you're just helpless, totally helpless. You're just at the mercy of the weather. Absolutely nothing you can do, is there?
No.
Most storms originate out at sea, making sea weather particularly volatile. 1 minute you can be enjoying looking at the waves, like this crewman on a merchant ship in the South Atlantic. The next, well, wait and see. Freak waves happen because of gusty winds, and they can be many times bigger than all the surrounding waves. Luckily, the crewman sees it early, otherwise, it could have been swept off the ship. Freak waves don't just happen on boats. Real or fake, we're not sure, but funny, definitely. Rip currents are the biggest danger for surfers because they drag them out to sea. A beginner surfer is missing and has no chance unless the lifeboat can find him. They spot him, exhausted and towing his surfboard. "20 Australian surfers and 100 surfers worldwide drown every year, most of them in rip currents, which makes them far more deadly than shark attacks. The sea also produces truly weird and beautiful weather, none more so than waterspouts. There are two types, tornado and fair weather waterspouts. This is the fair weather variety, which is just as well because the family in the boat go for a closer look.
Wow! Yeah!
Despite its name, they are not filled with water from the sea, but cloud descending from above. The developing storm clouds drop the spiraling spout to the water's surface, and warm, wet air funnels up it from the sea. Fair weather spouts are harmless, and they dissipate when they hit land.
Wow!
Tornado waterspouts, on the other hand, are potentially lethal. They are fully fledged tornadoes from supercell storms forming over the sea.
Was it just me, or was that really close?
Myrtle Beach in Florida takes a direct hit at the height of summer.
Oh, dude.
Rapidly spinning winds swing in, ripping up the beach and chasing down tourists. The extremes of high and low air pressure smash windows and overturn buses. It is rated as an EF2 on the Fujita scale, with winds of over 120 miles per hour, causing millions of dollars worth of damage in a matter of minutes. And as the oceans get warmer, it's feared that our weather will become more volatile, fueled by warmer air, creating fiercer, even more deadly atmospheric conditions. Animals can sense dangerous weather even when we can't. A lesson learnt by farmer Alan Jago on the south coast of Ireland.
I've been farming since I've been knee-high to grasshopper, farming alongside Dad. So it was 10 to 5 and my phone rang and it was Dad. And Dad said, come over straight away and bring a rope. And that's when I knew something was drastically wrong. And I headed over to the field where the heifers were. So as I came to the field, I saw no cattle in the field. I saw the wire snapped, and then I could see all these little tracks through the firs.
In November 2015, a sea storm was brewing, and his cows panicked. They broke through an electric fence and tried to shelter in some coastal rocks. With the light fading and the weather worsening, they had to be moved to safety, urgently.
I literally see 11 animals stuck inside in the sea, with my father one side of the rocks and my brother on the other side, trying to keep them back in as they were trying to kind of swim out to sea. I came down my ropes and I said, what are we going to do with these ropes? And they both turned around and said to me, we don't know either, but we know we need to do something.
With cows and farmers out of their depth, Alan alerted the Royal National Lifeboat Institution, and these volunteers faced a unique rescue.
Pagers went off, we assembled in the station, we launched, and we proceeded to the casualty area.
Even the dolphins seemed like they wanted to help. Back on the rocky outcrop, the tide was coming in rapidly. The cows were beginning to panic.
They were hurting their legs, they were hurting their hooves, they were hurting their sides, they were falling, they were cutting themselves. It really was a helpless and a hopeless situation for both the animals and ourselves. We were down with the animals for maybe 3/4 of an hour. It seemed like a day. It was the longest time ever. You heard the sound of this motor coming around the headland, and it was just the most fantastic sight you ever see.
But the lifeboat spooked the pregnant animals even more.
Again, a boat, they've never seen a boat before. These guys in big suits.
They decided to pull the heifers and their unborn calves to the safety of the next door beach, where they could walk out of the sea. Mark planned to lasso them around the neck, and the boat would pull them round the headland. But lassoing cows at sea isn't that easy. One cow attempted to make an escape, but turned back in fear, straight into Mark's rope.
The guy in the boat pulled the heifer out straight away, but immediately it was quite obvious that the head of the animal was going under the water. The power of a 500 kg animal, if that was to get on top of him or whatever, it could have been a very, very serious situation for all concerned.
Mark stayed with the panicked lady all the way around the headland.
I basically held onto their heads and swam with them. Now and again they would kick you as they were swimming, but you just keep on driving their heads towards where you wanted to go and swim alongside them. No, it wasn't the first time I had a kick from the cow, and definitely won't be the last.
The first cow made it to the beach safely.
The care they showed to the animals, the compassion they showed to them, it made me as a farmer feel very relaxed. But I think the way they treated the animals also were very relaxed.
The cows were beginning to trust Mark and his team, but they didn't all do what they were told.
As I was herding some of the cows over to the rocks, one cow went off into a cave, and with the weather driving them in there and the waves, so I swam in with the rope in my mouth.
We had no idea what was going to happen or how far this alcove went in. This animal had literally nowhere to go, and you were this incredible guy, this volunteer.
When I was in the cave, the waves and weather was breaking over the cow, so it was probably the worst place to be. Climbed up over him and put the rope over his neck, and with the help of the other lifeboat crew, we pulled him back out to safety.
Swim in past this animal and literally push the animal back out with the help of a rope. It was just incredible to see it. After you pulled the first 2 or 3 across, the rest of them had a bit of confidence that they were able to swim across onto the rocks. And it did take them, some of them maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes to actually get on their feet because they were just shattered at that stage. With a bit of veterinary treatment and that, and a bit of TLC, tender loving care, they all came right in the end.
When we returned to the station and refueled the boat and got it ready to go again, we all decided to go to McDonald's to cheer ourselves up. We did.
There are 2 types of people in life. Some that can deal with and relish the results of the world's most extreme weather. And some that can't. Some feel they can take on a puddle. But get out of their depth. If it's not treacherous puddles, people can also be fooled by the exact depth of snow. In Wales, rain may occasionally stop play and block drains.
Just gushing out of the manholes.
But for this champion sewage swimmer, it's an opportunity.
Oh, it looks lovely. You can do it, keep going. You're halfway there.
With the job done, this guy has no fear of putting the effort into effluent.
He's probably contracted like at least 5 parasites and 2 diseases now.
In this episode, we've seen Mother Nature at her wildest and worst. We've seen how powerless we really are. And next time there will be more, because weather stops for no one.